Hello everyone, and thanks for watching. My name is Marco, and this is the fourth video in a short series summarizing the Veritaseum VeADIR beta test platform. My last two videos we learned how to offer Veri for rent and how to get Veri via rental to open an exposure. This time we're going to open an exposure directly through the VeExposure page, and that page is available off the main menu. So similar to the other pages in the rental app, this one's got various panes, although less panes, opened exposures and closed exposures, as well as the new order plus button over here, which I'll get to in a minute. So when you look on here, what you can see is a series of closed exposures. These were actually opened and closed in late December into early January through a downturn, actually the beginning of the downturn of which we're still in now. So what you're seeing are just actual ROIs during that down market period. Now, one thing to keep in mind, however, is that at that point in the beta testing, exposures were limited to 7-day duration. And that cap has now been raised up to 30 days duration. And so as you can see, I've recently opened 2 exposures here directly through the VeExposure app, and these exposures were for 30 days. And so the thinking, latest thinking now with the beta and some of the early results we're seeing is that a little bit longer durations are needed to overcome the friction of the fee to use the platform, as well as just to give the underlying assets some time to grow, rather than just expecting they would grow in a day or whatnot. So anyway, these are the same as all the other screens we've reviewed, where you can come in and view the history and actually go open the Etherscan transaction directly to view it if you so choose. You'll see on the closed exposures they've gone through the full cycle. So I opened this particular one 20 days ago. It was collected that same day later on. It was closed out then 11 days ago, 7 days after that, and then settled. All of these are blockchain transactions that can be verified through clicking this out to the Etherscan website. So if we come up and we're ready to open an exposure directly, and the use case here would be we've already got Veritaseum. We don't need to rent it from anybody. We just want to open the exposure directly using our own Veri and our own Ethereum. And so we come out here, you click the plus, it opens this similar tab as always with the same ratio of 100 Veri to 100 Ethereum. And again, in the beta, the quantity, the amounts are capped at 0.01 and 30 days duration. And so pretty simple formula. If I were not to have enough Ethereum available in my account at this particular address, the exposure would not go through. You'll get an error message. So if we submit, again we see the MetaMask notification. If we just want to take a quick peek at Ether gas station just to see what they're saying, I'll refresh my screen and we see on the safe low they've got 1, and standard they've got 3, and fast 6. So let's go ahead and put that up just a little bit and press on submit. We'll see we can get out to the Etherscan transaction. We can also see now a new exposure in gray up here with the status of pending. What it's doing now, it's actually waiting on that transaction to get confirmed out on the blockchain. Once that occurs, it'll change the status. Okay, and now that the confirmation has occurred, the status, as you'll see, has changed to open. You'll notice these opened exposures above it. Both of these are mine. If we look at the history, first they open, and then if you recall from the previous videos, the VeADIR collects those funds to open the exposure. And so now what's actually happening is we've opened the account from my perspective, but the VeADIR now needs to do its work. So if we shift back over to the VeADIR summary screen, we'll be able to take a peek at the latest trades. Okay, and now we see the bucket has been created and the VeADIR's hard at work populating the bucket. 1 Ethereum in to fund it. It's so far bought 1.077 VeRI tokens. It just purchased 7 PPTs and 143 and change PPPs. And so if you look here, it just happened to work out well with its buying. 40% VeRI, 30% Populous, and 30% PayPi in this particular bucket, which is a different composition than the bucket we created just an hour ago through the rental exposure. So we to recap now, through the exposure beta, we've opened an exposure, funded that. We opened it with the key to get in. We used 0.1 Veritaseum in this case, and we had 1 Ethereum in our account, which has been deducted out to fund that exposure. We put it in for a period of 30 days in the platform, and so you see that right here, the freshest one on the bottom here, opened 10 minutes ago, collected by the VeADIR 6 minutes ago, and now sitting as an active bucket out here, bucket created, VeRI, PPP, and PPT within the bucket. And so that's it. That's as easy as it can get, really, in terms of opening an exposure. Simply feed the VeADIR your Veritaseum to get in, have the associated Ethereum available in your address, and basically click the easy button, and the VeADIR goes off and does its magic. So in 30 days, it'll do the reverse process. It'll close out the bucket and destroy it, and then the funds will be available once I go through the settlement process. So there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.